This sign here references the restoration of AFT-1 to cosmetic condition, and that locomotive has a bit of history behind her. The locomotive that became AFT-1 was originally a 280 consolidation built for the Reading Railroad, but in 1945, the Reading rebuilt it and several other 280s into T1484s, often called T-Hogs. With that, this particular 484 became 2101. In 1959, the Reading introduced the Iron Horse Rambles, and T1's 2100, 2102, and 2124 saw service, but sadly not 2101 as she was backup power for her sister. Although the Rambles were popular, they ended in 1964, and 2101 was sold to a scrapyard for storage in 1967. In 1975, for the American Bicentennial, the late Ross Rowland, looking for a locomotive to operate in the eastern portion of the U.S. rail system for the American Freedom Train, purchased 2101 and 2100. 2101 was restored to operation, numbered AFT-1. It was used to operate the eastern portion of the American Freedom Train tour. When the tour ended, 2101 was painted into chassis system colors for the 1977 Chassis Steam Special to celebrate 150 years of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, and she performed amazingly and quickly became very popular with rail fans along the East Coast. But that wouldn't last. On March 6, 1979, as she was in a roundhouse in Russell, Kentucky, nobody knew at the time, but the roundhouse was plagued with faulty wiring, and at any second it could have arced and set off anything. And on that day, the wire finally arced and started a fire. The roundhouse 2101 was in burned for hours with her inside it, and when the firefighters finally doused the fire along with Reading 2101, it was too late to save her and her excursion career. "2101 suffered extensive damage to her boiler, side rods, and tender. A rebuild for her to put her back into sound condition was deemed to be too costly, and she was retired from her second career. 2101 would never run again." Fortunately, 2101 was never scrapped. Instead, she was swapped for C&O 614, which was at the B&O Railroad Museum. The locomotive was restored to operation and in 1981 pulled the Chessie Safety Special and a variety of more excursions until 1999 and sat inactive until 2025 when she was bought by a group and arrived at Strasbourg just weeks before Ross Roland tragically passed away. As for 2101, her tender was swapped for 2100's tender, which would later be converted from coal to oil firing, and although she sat for years rusting, finally the museum has gone to work on cosmetically restoring her for the 250th anniversary of the United States. As for a full restoration, that doesn't seem likely anytime soon for 2101, especially with the fact that her sisters 2102 and 2100 are now either restored and operating in 2102's case, or being restored in 2100's case. While the odds of 2101 running again aren't absolute zero, I think the best thing out of this is that 2101 is still around, and while she may not be running, she is indeed safe and sound, with some touches of paint being put on her, and at least her sisters continue on the legacy of her class of T-Hogs. And with that, our trip to the B&O Railroad Museum has concluded.